What's the 18 years property cycle? Why is that important? Can we predict when is a good time to buy a property? Where are we in the cycle? These are all the questions I'm gonna answer today and give my opinion at the end. Let's start with the founder of this theory, Fred Harrison. Is a British author, economic commentator, corporate policy advisor, an important journalist who written a lot of books, very interesting books. I highly recommend you to read if you're interested in this topic. I absolutely think that this is a great book. Boom and Bust: House Prices, Banking, Depression of 2010. In this book, Fred Harrison predicted the 2008 recession, which started with the subprime mortgage crisis in the US, property related. This author is talking about the cycle, which in his opinion has shown for more than 200 years. He has done a very good research on that. He believes that the issue is because of the policy on land. Land is not infinite, so that affects the cycle. The problem is that the governments like property prices to rise because they get votes, because people are then more encouraged to spend, the economy grows, and they look better. But then they just prepare for the inevitable crash that brings a lot of misery to people, and that happened very recently, but it seems like human beings never learn, and they repeat the same mistakes over and over. So for Fred Harrison, it's all related to land prices. Why land prices are important? Of course, because you can see that easily if you check how banking works. Banks are lending money they don't have, and they can lend a certain amount of money based on their reserves, on their assets. Just to make it very very simple, it's much more complex than that. So if property prices are high, they can lend more money, they can stretch, and that basically creates the money that is used for them to fund, to create jobs, to create companies. So it's so important because everything really originates from property because of debt, and a sudden crash in property prices means that the banks then are very exposed, and they could definitely be in big trouble. And we've seen it there in 2008 that banks had to be bailed out, and we started then seeing government guarantees. You know that there's a guarantee on your bank accounts now in Europe. It's really key, and you can see that Harrison. I like this quote because economists erroneously assume that the health of the property market depends upon the condition of the rest of the economy. In fact, property is the key factor that shapes the business cycle. I fully agree with that. Okay, so let's see this article now from realbusiness.co.uk, how to benefit from the 8-year property cycle. So now that we know that there's a cycle, and we can see here the phases of the cycle. First recovery phase for 7 years, then a mid-cycle dip, then another 7 years of explosive phase, which leads to a recession at year 14, and a recession that lasts about 4 years. That exactly happened in the 2008 recession. So I guess everybody wants to know, especially people who are risk adverse, is it now a good time to buy a property? Am I buying now and then I'm gonna face massive negative equity, massive issues, interest rates are rising. There's a lot of anxiety, and I think it's right to be concerned. So let's see what tools we have to understand where we are at now. Again, we're not fully sure if the why the cycle exists. So this is a theory. Other people see the patterns, and they believe that there could be another theory. But anyway, we're not that concerned about that today. I think it's a lot of people got confused. People who believe in the cycle because of COVID, because the Ukrainian war. So there's been a lot of confusion. Where are we now in the cycle? Is the cycle maybe gonna shift? Is there gonna be because of these unexpected events? Is the cycle still gonna happen the same, or should we map it in a different way? Anyway, for the author of the book, the next crash is due in 2025, 2026. This is based on the fact that the last 4 crashes have happened in, and we see other periods of the before. So yeah, other people then are saying, oh, Brexit might have had a role on this. So you can find any explanation, but I think usually things are easier than that. We try to justify what happens when we see maybe unexpected events, but I think we shouldn't do that. Now this article is from 2022. So we see in 2022 we had a rise in property prices. The COVID during the last few years, during the COVID crisis, we have witnessed that. But we're starting to see in 2023 that UK property prices and prices across other countries like Australia, China, New Zealand, Canada are dropping as well. We don't see it yet too much in Ireland. We see definitely a softening of prices, but we know Ireland has its own issues and a massive shortage of properties that might make the market more resilient than others. It's also more difficult to borrow money in Ireland, which would explain that a slight difference there. So, of course, we don't know if the cycle is guaranteed to repeat, definitely, there are risks if you really believe blindly in these theories. I would say my final recommendation to people who want to buy now or are thinking of buying, I would say go for it if you can afford the repayment, if you can afford the higher interest rates. Interest rates are definitely rising at least another couple of times this year. Probably they're gonna stop at the level if the economy is entering recession. There's still few years ahead. And I believe that if your repayments are sustainable, you should go for it. But of course, if you can wait until 2025 and 26, wait for this crash, then you will be able to buy at lower prices. Remember that the correction lasts another 4 years. So would you have, let's say, 2023, so 4, 5, 6, and then another 4? Would you would you be okay to wait another 7 years before buying? Some people are, of course, investing, and they don't need the property for themselves, so they can probably easily wait another 7 years. But then you're still going back to maybe, I don't know, 2018 prices. So yeah, I don't know if it's really worth waiting for this crash to happen. I'm quite sure that the prices will definitely drop because interest rates are getting high. In Europe, we're already starting to see interest rates rising to maybe for some mortgages to 5, 6, and I believe they'll probably go up to 7%. Again, it's up to you and your circumstances, and how important for you is to buy this property. If you have to live there for a long time, I would say it's different than if you're thinking of maybe being flexible because you might take better work opportunities somewhere else, and you don't want to add this anxiety that you bought into the at the wrong moment, so I cannot give you really an advice on this, but these are my considerations. Thanks for watching this video. If you like more of this content, please subscribe. Bye for now.